What's popping, everybody? So we are going live with the press conference that is being held
Get the worst
in New York with Ben Crump and the family. So give me a minute and I will put that right up on the screen for y'all right after this.
That girl Henny, y'all gotta go to her channel.
The girl Henny, do you know who she is?
She a blogger or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just like, where did this lady come from?
You right? On your ass.
She on your life, G.
Shout out to Henny over there.
Okay, Attorney Crump, and then we hear from the panel.
Okay. Thanks, Rev. Y'all can come on up before everyone else. We're gonna be together. Thank you, Reverend Al, for always answering the bell as you have done on so many occasions when families get the worst news of their life. And make no mistake about it, Christine and Elmo got the worst news of their life on what was supposed to be a joyous occasion where everybody was celebrating the 4th of July weekend. I'm Attorney Ben Crump, along with Attorney Lisa Park and Jared Presson and Camila Moore. We have the honor and the privilege of helping to lead an independent investigation on behalf of the family of Nolan Wells. Why do you say we need to be retained to lead an independent investigation? It is because the family has distrust of the Mississippi law enforcement officials giving them a fair investigation where their Black son ended up dead after going out on a boat with 3 young white men. The history of Mississippi is something that they don't just read about in books, but it's a lived experience for many Black Americans that oftentimes when our children are killed in highly questionable situations, that there is this notion that, oh, it was nothing wrong, no foul play, let's just sweep it under the rug. Well, we refuse to sweep it under the rug. We refuse to just let Nolan Wells' death be in vain. We are going to make sure that we get to the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, because Nolan deserves it. You're going to hear his mother and father talk about what a wonderful young man he was. I mean, doing everything right. Reverend Al, he was not only a college student, he was a great athlete. He was a model big brother for his brothers and little brothers and sisters. And he was a great son who was on the cusp of becoming a man. I mean, Christine and Elmore did everything to prepare him for this moment. He was so close. He was right there. You're going to hear his father talk about him had a good football season last year, but this season he was really ready to go to the next level, to go to Division I. I mean, the highlights that you're seeing on social media of his athletic prowess, I mean, it is all relevant, because when you start talking about drowning, I mean, this is a kid who knew how to swim. This is a kid who was in tip-top shape. He was a superior athlete. And so I'm going to get to that in a moment, these glaring contradictions, but to try to say, oh, we're suggesting it was just an accident or drowning, go ahead and move on. Well, they are not accepting it. They are not accepting it. They want to know that you have not taken the path of least resistance, that you have done a full complete, thorough, impartial investigation, because it cannot be lost on anybody, but especially us in the Black community. If the roles were reversed and you had 3 young Black men on a boat with a young white man, and that young white man ended up dead, what kind of investigation would be being conducted by the Mississippi law enforcement officials? How many times would those 3 young Black men be interrogated? So all we're asking is the same consideration you would have given if the roles were reversed. Give that consideration to this family as well. That is our fight. The glaring contradictions just jump out at you. The fact that he is there with his friends, and you look at all the videos, it seems to be he's the only Black on the island, or maybe one other, but not many. And so, Jared, you have where a young woman he was talking to says that, well, Nolan said he was going back to get on the boat with the boys. The boys say that Nolan told them he was going to stay and talk to the young woman. It's a contradiction. They're not saying the same thing. One of them is telling the truth, one of them is not. We have to get to the bottom of that. It's important. And then the fact, Reverend Al, that they have this video of an argument that is going on. And you know, thank God all young people, they have cell phones, and anytime you hear people raising their voice, they start the video. And so you hear on the video Nolan saying, "Give me my freaking phone. What are you freaking doing?" And that becomes even more relevant when you think about the story that they are presenting, that Nolan chose to stay behind. That's what they're saying. But his phone, he wouldn't take that with him if he's going to stay behind on an island. I mean, we're talking about an 18-year-old kid. What teenager would leave their phone behind if they're going to stay on this island? What teenager wouldn't take their phone? And so it's not adding up. It's not adding up at all. The fact, as Reverend Al said, you know, they didn't take his phone with them. His mother, when she finds out that her baby is missing, they start trying to track the phone, the GPS the phone. They've used Life 360, and they discover that, well, the phone is on land. The phone is on land, but you're saying he went missing on the island. And so it's not adding up. And so they go get the phone. And you hear her tell herself, when her and her sister start going through his phone, Jared, they realize that there are deleted messages. So they're trying to figure out, well, why are there deleted messages on his phone? I mean, it becomes relevant when you start putting everything together, where we can't just say, oh, there's no instance of foul play. We're going to get to the truth one way or the other. The fact that, and this really makes no sense to me, Reverend Al, this notion that, well, he drowned, y'all have, I'm sure, seen all the videos out there. I mean, if he's drowning, nobody sees him drown, nobody offers assistance, nobody tries to help him. I mean, obviously, he stands out. I think, the only black person I saw when I'm looking at the videos. And if you see him drowning, you mean nobody is going to try to help him? It's not adding up. It is not adding up. And that's why the family, at their behest, we had an independent autopsy being performed. And we thank Colin Kaepernick for helping to pay for that independent autopsy. And we thank Tyler Perry for helping to pay for the funeral, because as Reverend Al said, these were just regular parents going about their life. They weren't expecting any of this. And then we're having to try to hire all these experts to be able to go and see if they can retrieve deleted messages. We have to have experts. You'll hear from Attorney Park talk about, where the body was found when it was recovered and how long it took to be recovered. We think all of those are relevant issues to trying to understand what really happened to Nolan Wells. And this independent autopsy is so very important, because we had his body flown from Mississippi to Washington, D.C., because his family wanted to make sure that they had a doctor who had no ties to Mississippi law enforcement to do an independent examination of their son's body. And we are hopeful to get that results in the very near future. We were hoping we would have had it today. However, as you all know, here in New York, they canceled all the flights yesterday. And so it took a long time for his body to get to the medical examiner's office in Washington, D.C. But rest assured, as soon as we get those results, we will make them known to you, because we believe transparency is very important. We want to lead by example. We want them to be transparent, and we want to be transparent. We know they conducted an autopsy. We are waiting on their results as well. The final thing I will say is this. If there are any people who are on that island, any young people who recorded videos, who witnessed things, who may have saw Nolan at any time on the island, please, please, please let us know. Please call bencrump.com, call the 800 number, just any information. They are desperate. We're in a ferocious pursuit for the truth. And y'all, if it was your child, wouldn't you want everybody who knew something to let you all know? This is a hard one, Rhea, because it's so tragic on so many levels. Rhea, before we bring the parents up, why don't we have Attorney Lisa Park, who is helping head up the investigation with our office.
My name is Lisa Park. I'm the senior attorney for the Ben Crump Law Office in Atlanta. It is our honor to work with the family to try to find answers in this case. I think that most of you at this point are aware of Ben Crump Law and many of the cases that we represent in this country. Some of these cases you don't know anything about until we get involved and we shed some light and we explain to the media what has happened, and you all let America know what has happened. Mm-hmm. Sometimes cases come and you all already know about it. This is one of those cases. Yeah. I saw this in the news before I got a call from Ben. This was already huge in social media, already out in general media. Why? Why? Because it doesn't take an attorney. It doesn't take a special investigator. It doesn't take someone with extreme training to know right off there's something wrong here. This is, as Ben has put it, not adding up. It is so obvious. There are so many people in this country that go missing, right? Everybody knows this. But this case has captured everybody's attention. Think about why. You know that something is not right. It doesn't take us. It doesn't take the Reverend Al Sharpton, Ben Crump, to tell you and then think, oh, now I know something's wrong. We know something is wrong. And for every single person that was in Horn Island, and we know there's about 200 people, there's a lot of people. And we know that Horn Island is a popular place during the holidays. It's a popular place on the weekends. You have to get there by boat. It's the only way to get there. You have to leave by boat. It's the only way to leave. So many people out there. If you are watching this, if you see this, and you are struggling about what to say or what to do, you know what the right thing to do is. Call Ben Crump Law. There's this thing called the internet. It's very easy to find that number. Call us. We have an entire call center. They're waiting to hear from you. If you didn't go to Horn Island, but you've heard something, because people are talking. They're talking with each other. They may not be calling the police. They may not be calling us. But you heard something. We need to know that. We need to know that. In America today, so many of us, we want to believe that the last several decades, we've made so much progress in our race relations, don't we? We want to believe that. Whether you're black or you're white or you're Asian, that's what we want to believe. We wanted to believe that this past 4th of July when we celebrated 250 years, right? If you want to believe that, you've got to be part of the solution. You've got to be part of that. You have to make it happen. And if you have information, please call us. It is incredibly important. People out there, you have answers. You may not know exactly what your information means, but if you saw something, say something, please.
Anything else about the time? Okay. We'll take it in question and answer.
All right, we're going to hear from the parents, and then we'll have Q&A. And what I want is when we go to the media, identify yourself and your outlet so we know who is speaking. And let me say again that we're standing with this family till the very end and make sure we're dealing with justice. Let's first hear from the mother, Christine Wansley.
First of all, I want to say thank you, everyone, for being here. This is not how I wanted the world to meet my son, but here we are. So, as you know, I'm Christine Wells Wansley. I am Nolan Wells's mom. And Nolan is the kindest soul. He never met a stranger. He loved everybody. He didn't care if you were black, white, purple, green, looked like a marshmallow. Like, he just wanted everyone to be in peace with one another. He loved life, and God gave him this big heart. which always scared us. Me and his dad had conversations with him all the time, not just about the importance of understanding our history as Black people, but also the importance of how you have to move in certain spaces. And it's not us being, feeding into racism or the stereotypes that comes with that. Unfortunately, that is just a matter of fact. There have been many cases, many instances that shows that it's unfortunately a pattern that he did not like. He did not like that there was so much division, and I think that's why God gave him us. He was really a peacemaker. He wanted, like I said, everyone to be included. He never wanted to leave anyone out. He just, even at a young age, I don't know, he was, how old was he?
18.
No, not 18. When he was a baby, he did a little dance. So his father and I were having a moment, and as couples do, and even in that moment, he runs in the room with his diaper on, of course, and he starts dancing because it was like he could feel the tension. He could feel that something wasn't right. So he was just a special kid. Like, he was a special kid, but again, just heart was so big. And we're gonna miss him dearly. But we are grateful, especially to our friend Tashima, who actually was one of the people who helped us that night. She went and picked up his cell phone from where it was, and then provided that to us, because we of course contacted authorities to figure out who to do the report with, whether it was the county or the city, which then turned into DMR, who I contacted immediately from there. But
Can you tell them how you got the cell phone?
so our friend actually, when I called her, Nolan is best friends with her two sons, Jalen and Javon. When I called her, I said, Tashima, have you seen Nolan? He's missing. No one has seen him. No one has talked to him. The boys were actually with her sons. So they opened up their Snapchat, because a lot of the kids do have their locations where they're tracking one another. So one of the boys says, well, it's showing that, I can't exactly remember what his location was showing, but my Live 360 location was showing something completely different. It was actually showing that his phone was like he was on land. And so we ended up, she received the phone from that parent, and then we met up where his car was, which was at a separate location. There were issues obtaining the key, but even so, there was just a lot of.
Tell them about what happened with the keys.
So I'm gonna let my husband tell you about that, because he actually went up to the door to get the key, because at that point, I was just not in my right mind. This has just been an awful situation, just terrible.
Elmore Wansley, the father.
Okay, so the situation with the key. When we got to the house, a few of his friends, they were already there, and they were at the door in the house, asking questions. So when I walked up, they were getting, things were getting kind of tense. So I turned to them and told them, I need you guys to calm down. I don't do this to me right now. I need them to kind of trust me so they can give me something. So I was able to calm them down. So the guy, he's in one of the pictures, he came out of the room, half asleep or whatever, I think Jack's or whatever. And I said, look, I'm Nolan's father. I'm here to get his keys so I can get his car. I said, he's like,
his car was in the yard.
His car's parked in the yard. So he was like, I don't know, man. Nolan's like my brother. I said, well, if Nolan was like your brother, would you please go in your room and see if you can find my son's keys so I can take his car home? He walks off, 2 or 3 minutes, come back. I can't find the keys. I said, okay. So at that point, I get the boys and I get to move them out the house because I didn't want them to go into the house and start tearing up these people's houses because then that would be a whole nother situation. So walk outside by the car. One of the guys that was in the house with us, he was on the phone with a girl, and the girl told him that Nolan's keys were on top of this Jax guy's Xbox in the house because apparently she was there with him earlier. So he goes back up to the door by himself, and 5 minutes later, the keys come out. So now I feel like you done lied to me. So now I'm really like in distress with you. But as far as their night goes, if I knew anyone who had a boat, I would have went out that night looking for my son. We tried, but I don't have friends with boats. But if I knew someone with one, I would have went out that night. And this so happened that his coach saw all the stuff on Facebook that next morning and called and contacted me at like 5 in the morning, asked me, did we want to go out? And I told him yes. So within an hour, he was at the dock. We met him and we went out. We docked the boat, got off the boat, walked on the island, walked a pretty nice stretch, came back, got back on the boat, went around the island, looked, came back around, and where we went to, that's where apparently they say that his body floated up. I don't know a lot about water currents over there, but I would think that we would have saw his body. And on the trip there was a family that stayed a night on the island, like actually tented out on the island. So if he was left, he would have saw that family on the island, and it was 2 other boats docked. So he would have had help. So I don't know. I don't know. I think we stayed there for like an hour and a half. That's when Jackson County and the sheriff department showed up, and they were going to do their rounds. And I had a classmate of mine, him and his 2 boys, they came out and they searched, and then they got back in touch with me and said the Coast Guard had finally showed up in airplane. So
what is so critical, what Elmore is saying is they went out on Sunday, and the tide, if it brought his body up, he went missing on July 4th, as they say. His body should have been there on July 5th. Why would it not appear to July 6th? And that's one of those things that's just not adding up. And the fact that if he stayed behind on the island, there were boats there, there were people, somebody had to see something. That's why it's not adding up. And that's what they're saying. It's just not adding up.
Yes. And if he was there 2 days, somebody on the island would be able to verify that. 2 days and nobody's come forward and said, no, he was with us, or no, we saw him. It just does not make sense. Make it make sense.
Just one last thing. We want her to talk about the cell phone deleted messages. I'm sorry. I thought my voice was loud enough. One last thing. We want to have Christine talk about the cell phone from her perspective before they tell you who Nolan was, and then we'll take your questions.
So when we made it home, my sister and I actually went through Nolan's cell phone, particularly Snapchat, because that is so popular with the children. And when we opened it up, there was nothing. There were no saved pictures. There were no snaps from that day. And we did open it before the 24-hour expiration. So we found that very concerning, only because anyone who's ever been around Nolan will tell you at social gatherings, He's taking videos, he's taking pictures, he's even come up to me when I'm getting ready to go to bed. Hey, Ma, come on, take a picture of me. You know, like that was Nolan. So that's why we feel that things may have been deleted, was because of the fact that there was nothing in either one of his accounts. But I do want to say this. I would hope that any parent who, God forbid, would be in our situation, I would hope that you would do the same thing. I would hope that you would ask for any help, receive any help to get answers, because at the end of the day, that's all we want. We just want to know. We just want to know what happened and why our baby didn't come home. Like that's our biggest thing. And we are so grateful to everyone, family, friends, classmates, United Cajun Navy, everybody that's assisted us. We appreciate you. There's not enough thank yous that we could say or give to you, but I just, we just want to know. We want an honest, thorough investigation. That's all we're asking for. That's it.
Do you want to say about who Nolan was, and then we talk about your
Nolan is a person with a big heart. He's loved by not just his family, but the community. He's a born people person. He really developed a bond with his baby brother, because both of them play the same position. So he was really understanding the business side of the sport, which is football, and understand that it's not just a game you playing. So the stuff that I was telling him, it was kind of starting to sink into him, and he was really getting more in depth into it. And I could see as he did that, his baby brother really started getting more into it as well, as far as being more focused, because he saw, well, if my big brother is about to go do this great thing, then I want to do this great thing, but I want to do it better. That's why that's what made them so like vinegar and oil. It was like they was always at each other, but they were the same. When I look at my youngest, I'll say Nolan, or when I look at Nolan, I'll say my youngest name. So they would train together. I would always say, hey, you did some push-ups, you done ran some routes. And they know when I say that, next day they're out there running routes. Even my other son, he'll go out there. He doesn't play their position, but he will go out there and work and exercise and work out, because they were understanding what I was talking about. They were growing, they were becoming men. So this was his time. He would always talk to me. I would always give him my advice about stuff. I always try to tell him what to look for. And I was always telling him, I said, son, I'm giving you this advice and I'm telling you this stuff, but you're going to have to experience this. But when you experience it, it won't be foreign to you. You'll have some kind of idea how to navigate through it. And I think me and his mother, I think we did a great job with that. That's why it's so hard for me to believe that he would choose to stay on the island. It just wasn't in his character. It wasn't his character. So Nolan is the funniest kid in our family. Speaking of the time she was talking about, yeah, we were having a kind of heated moment, and I don't know if you guys remember the little dance called Stanky Leg. I think my son created it because we were sitting in that closet looking and just like talking. He literally came to the closet door and peeked around and stood in front of him and just started doing this little crazy dance. And I was like, we just bust out like whatever we was arguing about, we stopped laughing. Then we called him to us and we just hugged and laughed and played. But then maybe 6 months later, the song is a hit. But we always said he created the Stanky Leg dance. But that's my greatest memory of my
What are you
son.
telling your other children about this?
My son Ethan, he's hurting. These are the ones these are the younger ones. He's like, Dad, I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm like, son, you got to keep going, because he would want you to be better. His youngest brother Elmore, the one that really worked out with him, he was like, I'm hurting, Dad, but I said, Nolan wants you to be the best he can be. He would want you to outdo him, and whenever you feel like you're in a bind or having some kind of problem, call on your brother, talk to your brother. My twins, the loss of a younger sibling is hurting them. They have to figure out how to navigate through life without them. And my daughter Carly, with her being away, it's really hard for her because she's not around family now. So she's out on her own, doing life what life does, but she's doing it on her own. So she has to do this by herself. We're here, by phone, but we're not there in person. So she really has to draw on the people that surround her when she's not home. So all together, my family, this is going to be our new norm. He was the jester in my court, and yeah, he will be missed greatly, not by us, but by the whole community.
We will announce the funeral services when it is finalized, and we'll be going to help with I will officiate at the funeral in Mississippi. Again, we'll take your questions, but identify who you are, and please be respectful to families in mourning, but because they want justice for their son, they came to New York to make this appeal. But let's not make this a circus. Yes.
First of all, I just want to say I'm so sorry about the loss of family. I have a couple of questions. When was the last time you heard from Nolan? Would it say, was there a call or a text? What was said during that last interaction?
Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to hear the questions because they don't have a microphone.
Say that last question.
How do you know that it's Nolan saying, give me my phone when you do it in that video?
Well, yeah, you want to add the second one is other children who are saying it was Nolan. Yeah.
So the last time we spoke and saw Nolan was July the 3rd. He actually cooked dinner for me, actually for us, because I had gotten off work. It's been really busy. And so he cooked dinner. It was salmon. He baked it. So proud. And then after that, he was just like, hey, Mom, I'm about to go. I love you. Gave us a hug, kiss, and he left. Which of course, he knew we always looked at the Life 360. So there were times maybe he didn't call us to let us know when he made it, but we would see it. He would text at some point, but that was the last time we saw and spoke with him.
Sir.
Two questions. First, who was doing the independent autopsy in Washington, D.C.? And the second question is, as part of your independent investigation, have you planned to reach out to the other voices that ask them to voluntarily speak to your investigation?
Dr. Roger Mitchell is doing the independent autopsy on behalf of Nolan Wells' family. And we understand that the young men have lawyers, so we will have to have their lawyers agree to let them speak to our investigators, and we have not attempted to talk to them as of yet. We have been attempting to talk to many of the students and people who are out there that we are aware of.
Okay.
So they are lawyered up.
Right
That
here.
is confirmed.
Oh, okay. Justin Finch, Inside Edition, asking a question here. First, for the family, wondering if you recall from your friend what was said to her by the people who gave her Nolan's phone, and for Attorney Crump, wondering for you, at some point, will that phone be given to police for their investigation? They've expressed interest.
Yes.
So the exact wording of the exchange, it was through phone because again, we were busy trying to figure out who was going to take the missing persons report. Just because when it's in water, when it occurs on the island, it's not necessarily the city or the county because then it becomes an issue of jurisdiction. So like I said, she went there and spoke with, I cannot remember, I'm so sorry, my brain is everywhere. But she went to the house and retrieved the phone. She said, I have his phone. The phone was okay. As far as like appearance goes, it didn't look damaged or anything. And so then after that, we met with her at the other house where he had stayed the night, July the 3rd, where his car was. Because it was important for us to try to retrieve everything of his that we could. But it honestly, for both instances, it was a run around because I know she had issues getting his phone as well. And she ended up calling me and I think I spoke with the mother. She put me on speakerphone and I was like, hey, yes, I'm Christine. I'm Nolan's mom. We need his phone. We're trying to find him.
Yes.
I guess.
Okay, we'll go her and then you.
I guess let me answer the second part of the question. Absolutely, after our experts be able to examine the phone, we will let the Mississippi investigators examine the phone. And it's fortuitous that they have the phone because normally in these investigations, as you know, Reverend Al, they will have the phone and stuff and they will keep it for months and the family just be in limbo. But thank God we have the phone now. We're going to do it expeditiously and give it to them to examine it as well.
Anna Schechter with CBS News. So you said that he stayed the night at a friend's. The first question is, did he stay with the friends that he went on the boat with?
Yes, he did.
And my second question is, has anyone come forward and provided you with other photographs or videos from Horn Island from July 4th that afternoon?
They're starting to send them to our office, and that's what Attorney Park was being so adamant about. Please continue to send whatever videos you got, whatever pictures you got, and we're very thankful that some young people have done that.
Good afternoon. Darla Miles, ABC 7 New York. First of all, I would like to extend my condolences to you.
Shout out to Darla.
This is very brave of you, and we appreciate your transparency. Two questions. Also, my regards to you, Reverend Al, Mr. Crump. My first question is, this happened in Mississippi, and you've traveled here to meet with Reverend Al Sharpton. Why was this important to you, and how meaningful has this meeting been with you here in New York?
So we did this because, once again, what we're wanting is transparency, right? Although I do absolutely respect law enforcement, just the fact that the accidental drowning thing, it made both me and his father uncomfortable. Why are we so quick to rush to this? And we just, at the end of the day, we want answers. This has been very impactful. And I'm gonna be honest with you, the day they found him, we were at Port Mars, which is one of the boat launches. And I was standing beside the water and I had said a prayer and I was like, Lord, this isn't what we wanted, but I just asked him to help us get through this, put the right people in our path that could potentially help us. Because at that point, we hadn't reached out to anybody. We didn't know where to start. This is foreign. We've never been through this. No parent should go through this. And then that's when my cousin
Keezy, she sent me a message with some information. My friend Bianca, her sister knows a contact with Attorney Ben. And so I said, okay, this has to be it. You know, like this has to be God helping us along the way. And I am not religious, but I am spiritual. And for that, I was grateful because I felt like things were being set up. And at this point, I have always said, we are taking any help. Any help. We don't care, black, white, purple. Like, again, we just want to know what happened. That's all we want to know. We just want to know what happened.
And my quick follow-up to that, were you able to get a clear explanation as to the chain of custody of his phone, like how that parent came in possession of his phone? And then explain the resistance. You said you went to the home to get the keys. I don't understand, like, what kind of resistance, what was that exchange of words like, the resistance that you received when you went to go retrieve his keys? Thank you.
He just acted like he didn't know where they were. He just he was like he was clueless. Like, he was like, I don't know. I don't like, well, just please. I was like, just please go in the room and look for me. Cause be honest with you, at that time, I was very emotional. No one was giving me an answer. So that situation with me and them could have went totally left field. But since those other young kids were in there, at that moment, they kept me from doing what I wanted to do. So getting them and calming them down, it helped me focus on what I was really there for, to find the keys. And like I said, when I asked him, he said he went and looked. And so when he said he couldn't find them, I did what I needed. I left out of their home. And like I said, 5 minutes later, he come back out with the keys. And they didn't come back outside anymore until the police came. Because at that time, police were called because we were looking for his wallet. And then they went to the door. But other than that, when they sent the keys out, they locked everything. They didn't want nothing to do with what was outside that door. So that right there is, when you lied to me, it killed all trust in anything you had to say.
All right, I'm gonna take the last four. 1, 2, 3, 4.
The young lady who had
Yeah, okay. Go ahead.
Maria Campanodi with CNN. 2 questions for Attorney Crump, just to get some clarification on the timeline of the events. When was Nolan last seen and by whom? And the second question is, who first reported Nolan missing and when?
Well, and I asked his mother to also assist on the second question. But as it's conflicts, you know, the young woman say that he went and got back on the boat with the boys. The boys say no. He said he was going to stay with her. And that's a conflict. And the troubling thing is if they're saying, well, he made the decision to stay behind, would an 18-year-old college student say, go ahead without me, I don't want my cell phone or anything? It just doesn't add up. And so that around that 3 o'clock time seems to be the last time that we have those statements. However, as Christine said, they're suggesting that they didn't leave to 4:30 though. So, you know, if you said you were leaving at 3, why did you left at 4:30? And where was Nolan for that hour? And
Israel.
about, I think she was asking about the cell phone. What was your? Oh, I answered last scene. I thought you said something else.
I think authorities.
Oh, the missing. Okay.
So his friend contacted me. It was around 11:07. And then I called my friend to ask her had she seen him, because that would be the only other place I would think he would go if he were back on land. And so then when she told me no, she's like, don't worry, I'm going to look for him. And that's when we got on the phone. First I called, it was either the county or Ocean Springs. It was either one of them. But whichever I called first, I was directed to call DMR because
What is
they,
DMR?
so DMR, if I'm not mistaken, they handle cases with the island or the water in that area. So the young lady took the information down. She's like, I'm going to give you a call back. I said, okay. So when she called me back, she explained to me, she was like, I've spoken with the Coast Guard, which his friend had contacted the Coast Guard. Warren had contacted the Coast Guard to report Nolan missing as well. So I'm on the phone with the DMR. He's calling Coast Guard. And she said, I spoke with Coast Guard and, you're going to have to complete the report with, I think it was Ocean Springs. So we go down to the Ocean Springs Police Department. We're told because it's a jurisdiction issue that they can't file the missing police report. Jackson County the Sheriff's Department ends up calling me back, I think if I'm remembering this correctly, and she was calling to check to see were they able to do it. I told her no, they couldn't do it. The young lady on the phone and the officer at Ocean Springs Police Department spoke. He explained to her why Ocean Springs Police Department could not complete the missing persons report. She said, okay. He gives the phone back. She's like, look, I'm just going to go ahead and do it so there's no more back and forth. So my husband and I, we met an officer in the McDonald's parking lot. I think at this point it's maybe around 12. Don't quote me on that. But we explained to him, what he looked like, age, all those things. Last time he was reported seen, which again, by his friend, he said that the last time he physically saw him was at 3 p.m. and they were getting ready to leave the island.
Israel Rodriguez with the U.S. Sun. Have you been able to gather additional information made by Warren's mother, Ashley Cole, on social media, where she said the group left the island after they experienced trouble with the boat and that the boat began taking in water?
Your question is what directly? We know she made that statement.
Have you been able to gather additional information on that?
No, we have not.
Thank you. Kevin Ortega Rojas with Here's Why News. I was hoping that the family could clarify Nolan's relationship with the young men that he traveled to the island with. We've heard different accounts of how long he's known them. And I was wondering also if you folks have spoken to those families since they lawyered up.
High school friends. Yeah.
Say the second part again.
Have they talked to the families? No. I haven't spoken.
Last question.
They haven't spoken to the family.
I want to speak to the family. I stand here as a cousin, a first cousin of a victim. In 2020, he went out with his friend and the mother, who was white, and he went missing. He was found dead, deceased, in a field behind her house. She was arrested. She was charged with failing to report a missing child and contributing to the delinquent of a juvenile. So your story is very familiar. Your pain, I feel it. And I will continue to advocate. I'm an activist and I go all across the world. But today I'm here because I stand with you. As a cousin of a victim, I know what you feel when you don't get justice and the system is up against you.
God bless you. Thank you. We will follow up and when we're ready to formal announcements. Again, the funeral service is not to prompt religion, it's to seek justice and unity. And we want everybody, black, white, everybody to come and extol what this young man represented. It's not a protest rally. It will be to really lift up the spirit of this young man and to stand with the family. If we have to do protest rallies, that'll be announced at another time. But the funeral services is to talk about how Nolan was a great young man to his family, and we're there to comfort them. Thank you for your time. Let us, please.
I'm sorry. So I know I have been seeing some younger people, real adults, older people doing protests. We actually had a very small one in Ocean Springs. Some young boys that knew Nolan, actually some of his friends. So what Elmore and I would like to say is, if you do, please be peaceful.
Right.
Nolan was not someone who liked fights, physical fights. He really didn't even like arguments. So don't go out there trying to be tough. Just think about what Nolan would want. And I'm telling you, he would not want that type of behavior. So let's just make sure that we keep it peaceful and respectful to one another's and others, and just stay away from negativity, but also to all of those who have sent beautiful messages. We have not gone through all of them, but I want you to know that we appreciate you, your love, your support, standing with us, and just keep us in your prayers.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Ray.
So that was the press conference that was held for Nolan. This is a sad story that has unfortunately unfolded. Let me get this, because I would rather have that playing on the screen than this. Matter of fact, I would rather pause that so we can have that there. So a lot of questions have gotten answered, and this is why I was being very cautious with the things that I was saying and putting out there, because we hadn't had any confirmation. And I just want to say, stories like this should never happen. She should not be up there grieving her son. Her son was supposed to be going for D1 status on Monday. That's what this family was looking forward to. Hold on one second. I'm going to give us a rundown for people who may have been late. Give me a second. I'm getting on camera. I'm going to give a rundown of what we know. Okay. Because there are a lot of facts that came out, but there's still a lot of unanswered questions. And I don't know about you, but I will be damned if I sit back and say nothing, do nothing, and don't play a part. I want to say something before I get into this a little deeper and go review what it is that we've learned through this press conference, okay? If you have a platform, you have a voice. You have a responsibility to put out truth, to put out facts, and to put light on these types of stories, because they matter. This, unfortunately, is what Black America looks like, whether people want to accept that or not. This is the experience of Black America, because I see too many stories, and we've heard too many stories of parents who have continually, over and over, gone through something similar. And I know that there are a lot of folks out there, both Black and white, of course, that don't want to accept that this is America. This happens. This happens way too often. Okay? Now, if you know, you know, I was up early this morning and I didn't get very much sleep. So forgive me for the no eyeliner, no lipstick. This is not one of those types of lives anyway, if I'm being honest. This is not that. As a mother, my heart aches for her. My heart wails for her. As a parent, how could you not feel anything? I don't care what color you are. How could you not feel anything? So, I'm sorry. I'm getting myself situated. So this is what we have learned today from this press conference. Can you guys hear me okay? Let me know if you can hear me. Damn it, I left my pen on the bed. It's all right. Can you guys hear good? So what we do know is Nolan could swim. Nolan could swim. The parents have confirmed that he can swim. This story that's being given, that was given to us about, okay, thank you. The story that's being given to us about Nolan staying behind on the island to talk to this girl, Katie, is bullshit. It's bullshit. But we smelled bullshit the minute that they said that. The minute that I heard that he stayed behind for a girl and did not take his cell phone with him, I called bullshit. It wasn't just the fact that he left his phone behind. It was the whole combination of that story. Number one, they were saying that he just met this girl. And you're ditching your friends for a girl you just met without your phone. That combination didn't sit right with me. I wholeheartedly agree with you that it makes it more suspicious because he could swim. Riptides, undercurrents, undertows, they're a thing, okay? Just last weekend when we were at the beach, the water was very choppy and the water pushes and it pulls you. But when somebody gets caught in a riptide, they don't just go under the water as if they've been sucked under and they don't come back up. You would see a person struggling. And I'm going to tell you something, that undercurrent, if it gets a hold of you, it doesn't matter how avid a swimmer you are. You're going to get caught in that and you're going to need to be pulled out and you're going to be trying to get out. So him struggling in an undercurrent, in a riptide, in any of that, I'm not buying that shit. This boy did not drown. He was murdered. We can say that now. We can say that thing that we weren't saying out loud. And if you were saying it out loud, kudos to you. But me, out of respect for the family, I did not want to bring murder into the fold until it was confirmed. It's been confirmed. He was murdered. What we know. Now, there was a young lady, and I played her live last night, and I said, what she's saying is not confirmed. Because from what we had heard at the moment was that the parents had the phone, that they gave the parents the phone. But now that the parents are speaking, we're getting the whole story. Has what been confirmed, Shelly? You've gotta let me know what you're talking about, babe, because my mind is on go right now. There was a problem. First of all, let's start with the fact that Nolan stayed the night at a friend's house. A friend that he went on the boat with the next day. A friend that he didn't return home with, and a friend who did not want to give the father the keys. Let's start there. This is your friend? The Snapchats. And I'm going off of what we just learned from the parents out of their mouth. So anyone that wants to debate with your mama, because this is what we just heard from this press conference. This is what came from the family, okay? The Snapchat location was given a different location than the Life 360 was given. Warren calls the mother. Let's back it up. hold on. Let's back it up. Let's go through the story. Let's go through the story. Okay. If I forget a piece or if I'm missing a piece and you remember, y'all fill me in, but we're going to do this together. Okay. Henny Glass is in the chat if we doing this together. Nolan is home with his family on July 3rd. He cooks baked salmon for his mother. Nolan then goes and stays the night out at his friend Jack's house because that's what the father said, Jack's. He goes and stays the night at the friend Jack's house, presumably because they're going out on the 4th of July to Horn Island to celebrate. In the back of Nolan's mind, he knows that he has the biggest day of his life coming on Monday. Because on Monday is when he's going to work out and where he's going to pursue going from D2 status to D1. So this is a big weekend for him. Okay. He goes out on Horn Island with the friends. And that's where we get the snapshot of him and the three friends. Let me take this off the screen for a second. Of him and the three friends. They're on the boat. They're headed to Horn Island. They're having a grand old time. Between the photograph on the boat and 11:07 p.m., when Warren calls the mother, something happens. On Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, we're hearing that there was some type of an altercation going on between the friend group. At 3 p.m., allegedly, somewhere between 3 p.m. and 4:30 p.m., allegedly, heavy on allegedly, Nolan decides he's going to stay on the island because he's met this girl, Katie. So the friends take off allegedly at 4:30. Allegedly. Because there was a post of someone that said that they seen that boat at 7-something p.m. still out there, and there was no Nolan in sight. Let me see if I could find that real quick for y'all. Let me see if I could find that really quickly for y'all. Because I have a bunch of photographs. Or maybe they might be gone because I deleted a lot of stuff out of my phone. So I might have deleted up off of here too. That's all right. That's all right. If I don't have the photographs, it's okay. So allegedly they leave off of the island and they leave Nolan behind. At 11:07 p.m., Nolan's mother gets a phone call from Warren telling her that Nolan is missing. Red flags everywhere already. Red flags. Inconsistency in timeline. A bullshit narrative. If y'all left that island at 4:30 p.m., because according to them, they left because the boat was taking on water. Because that's what the judge said. That's what the mother, who's a judge, that's what she said. Okay, let me pull that up because I know I've got that because I sent it to myself last night. So I should have that. Oh, I don't? Okay. Well, watch this. Where is it? Oh, it's been sent to the damn cloud. I don't have time for this. All right. This is one of the downsides to technology. All right. Either way, that's the story that we've heard. I don't think I need visual aids for y'all. Y'all are intelligent. Why did Warren call the mother at 11:07 p.m. and tell her that Nolan is missing? How did you know that Nolan was missing? Now, this is what I shared, but unfortunately, you can't read the whole thing. And this is from the mother, Ashley Cole, who's Warren's mother, who says that Warren cooperated with authorities. Warren was interviewed by Jackson County sheriffs and cooperated fully. That he last saw Nolan around 3 p.m. on July 4th, and they left around 4:30 when the boat was taking on water. And then she goes on to say that there was an issue with the bilge pump. I don't know if that's how you say it or not, but there was a problem with the pump, and Nolan made a decision to stay on the island. And that he would catch a ride inland later with another group of friends. This story is bullshit. It looked like bullshit, smelled like bullshit. From the moment it all happened, it smelled like bullshit. But Warren makes a phone call to Nolan's mom to tell her that he's missing. Okay? According to Nolan's mother, because yes, I was taking notes. She contacted authorities first. She made first contact with DMR. And Warren did call the Coast Guard. She verified that. So I have to say, I have to take back what I said in my previous video about that being bullshit that the friends called the Coast Guard. And the reason I was saying that it was bullshit that he called the Coast Guard is because we didn't even know that that was true. We just found out today that that was actually something that did happen, that Warren did call the Coast Guard, okay? So he called the Coast Guard while the parents contacted Ocean Springs. Ocean Springs, this is where the runaround began for the parents. This is where the runaround began for the parents. So now, while they're trying to make a missing persons report, one of Christina's friends, that's his mom, was sent to go retrieve the phone. Let's get to the runaround of it all. She goes to retrieve the phone, and the mother of who had the phone, which we don't know which person had the phone, gave her friend a hard time. Why you didn't want to give up the phone? So Nolan's mother says she gets on the phone and she verifies, I'm his mother, and she's there to pick up the phone. And at that point, she's given the phone. So I don't like to give people the benefit of the doubt, because every time I give people the benefit of the doubt, I end up looking like an asshole for doing so, because my first instinct tells me that it's bullshit, but I give the benefit of the doubt. But let's give the benefit of the doubt that the reason she wasn't giving up the phone is because she didn't know who the mom's friend was that was there talking about, I'm here to pick up Nolan's phone. And the only reason why I'm saying that is because the mother said herself that she got on the phone and told this parent, I'm Nolan's mom. She's there to pick up the phone, and the phone was given. But by that time, you have to think, if Nolan was missing since 3 o'clock, like they said, and a phone call wasn't made to the parents until 11:07, and that somewhere between 4:30 and 11:07, these friends decided that Nolan was missing, y'all had hours to delete stuff out of his phone. Photos, videos, text messages, Snapchats. And for those who are nosy, it's my vitamins. It's just my vitamins. Anyway, y'all had hours to delete whatever incriminating information y'all felt needed to be deleted off of that phone, With us hearing that the parents are judges, lawyers, firemen, etc., etc. And I heard a rumor, and I'm saying a rumor because it hasn't been confirmed as of yet. I heard a rumor that one of these parents works for the FBI. Henny Glasses in the chat, if you heard that too. I heard one of the parents works for FBI. That too. I forgot there was lawyers involved in this too. Let's not forget. Okay? And while she's over there trying to get that damn phone, Christine, the mom, is trying to make a report about her son being missing. Again, there has been hours between their 3 p.m. timeline and 11:07 when Nolan is reported missing to his mother. Do you hear me? That's an 8-hour difference. 8-hour difference? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 8-hour difference. That's a whole shift at work. You got all these kids that are allegedly, and I'm saying allegedly for the moment, that are connected to lawyers, police, FBI, firemen, judges. You don't think that that's a long enough time for them to come up with some type of cover story? Because from what I'm hearing, from what the parents said in this press conference, people already made it back home. Everybody made it back home. So now let's say, Henny, well, maybe they figured that Nolan was missing because his car was still at Jack's house. So maybe that's how they knew that he was missing. Whatever. They were putting together an alibi. Movement had already been made. Things had already been removed from the phone. The father spoke to how he went to go get the keys, and Jax gave him resistance to give him his son's car keys. And then he said, and I caught this. Did y'all catch when the father said that his wallet was missing too? That they had to try to find his wallet as well? They never gave us the story. They didn't get a chance to give us the story about the wallet. So now we have a story of the phone, the keys, and we know that they had to find Nolan's wallet as well. Here's my other question for y'all. Why would Nolan's phone not be with the person who was with them on the boat, whose house he stayed the night at the night before, whose house his car was in the yard of? Why didn't Jax have Nolan's phone? If Nolan was just at Jack's house, left Jack's house with him that morning after staying the night there, got on the boat with him, and would have had to return there to get his car, why didn't Jax have his phone? Why is his property scattered all over the place? Why wasn't Jax the centralized person to have all of Nolan's property and belongings? Why did it take for a girl to say, after Jax was asked for Nolan's keys, and Jax went in his room and came back out and said he don't know where they are, and the girl said they're on top of your Xbox? Where's your Xbox? Because I'm sorry, most Xboxes either sit on the floor or they sit right next to the TV. They're right next to the TV. They're not up on no high-ass shelf where you can't see what's going on. So you mean to tell me you went into that room after Nolan didn't return with you and you ain't see his keys on top of your Xbox? It took for somebody to dime out where the Xbox was? Y'all are lucky that that father and those friends, those family members that were there, didn't rip y'all to shreds. And I don't give a damn. I don't normally talk like this, but Jax deserved to get punched in his shit. Henny Glasses in the chat if you agree with that. Because my child was friends with you. but you were a frenemy to my child. My child just stayed the night at your house. My child left with you on a boat to go to an island to celebrate. My child trusted you. My family trusted you. And now I'm looking for my child's property. My child is missing, and you're giving me the runaround? You, your daddy, your mammy, y'all all need to be fucked up. How dare you deprive this family of the right to their property, of the right of an answer to what's going on with their son? But let's continue. So now here comes runaround number 2 with the family. Okay, because I'm going to consider the phone, the keys, and the wallet runaround number 1. Runaround number 2 for me, and maybe I'm missing it, and y'all can tell me in the chat if I'm missing a runaround that happened. Runaround number 2 for me was the mom is calling Ocean Springs. He's a resident of Ocean Springs. So she's calling Ocean Springs Police Department, the same police department where one of these children allegedly has a parent that works there. See how that go together? To try to report her son missing, and they're saying that it's out of their jurisdiction. Well, I do understand how jurisdiction works. I do understand that if I'm in this particular area of Manhattan, this particular precinct handles that, so I can't call a precinct from the lower east side to come to the upper west side to handle a case because of the jurisdiction. I get that, but it still don't sit right that there is a parent allegedly that works for Ocean Springs Police Department and their child is involved in this. It don't sit right with me. And then the fact that you can't tell them where they go, that's what the mother said. Let me pull out my handy dandy notebook. She contacted Ocean Springs, and they said they could not do the report due to jurisdiction. But they did not guide her as to where she was supposed to go, so she called Jackson County. And then Jackson County called Ocean Springs with her on the phone. And they explained to Jackson County why they couldn't take the report. Now, let's stop right there. Because if Jackson County, which is the county over Ocean Springs, right? If they're having you call the police department, if they're calling on a 3-way to find out why you couldn't take the report, that's not a red flag? Because don't you think that Jackson County would know? It's a county. They would know that this jurisdiction should take this. But I digress. The mom ends up making the report with Jackson County, and this is how we get the Jackson County Sheriff's Department involved. The father says he does not know people with a boat. So he was not able to go out that night and look for his son. But the coach called him about going out on the water. And they were out on that water at 5 a.m. They were out there at Horn Island looking for Nolan. He said they got off the boat. They drove around that island. They were in the area where Nolan's body would eventually wash ashore, allegedly. The father says in the conference, and if you missed the conference, you can rewind and go to the beginning of this because we watched the whole conference. The father said that there was a family there camping out on the island under a tent and that there were 2 boats docked out there. So if Nolan would have stayed behind and he would have gotten lost, there were people on that island that he could have gone to for help. They raise the same questions that we all have been asking, that I've been asking. How does a 6'1", 180-pound black man, who by all accounts from videos and photos that we saw, was one of the very few black people that was out there, go missing? How would this boy drown and nobody see it on the 4th of July? That's like going to Coney Island, Brooklyn on the 4th of July and drowning in the water and nobody sees. That's like being in the middle of Midtown Manhattan on any given day and being shot in broad daylight and nobody seeing anything. Somebody saw something, knows something, heard something, captured something. Unless what happened to Nolan happened on that boat. Unless what happened to Nolan happened on that boat. Now, I'm going to play. Let me pull this recording up because I want to give it, now that the family has spoken, I want to give this recording some fresh ears. I want to give the recording some fresh ears that I played last night of this young lady. Now, I was sent different recordings. Give me a second. I'm looking through my inbox. Is this, did they send me the recording? No. I'm looking for it. Oh. I know where it is. Pulling it up. Should be in my tags and mentions. Yep, right here. Okay. Let's go ahead and get this up on the screen for y'all. All right. This comes from Nicole Everything. Okay. And let's listen to what this young lady is saying.
Bullshit, and I've already been attacked because what are you talking about? Like, what are you talking
So
about?
Alexis, have you gone to the police department and shown them how they were 100% set up, and we can just
Everybody
close the
has.
case right
Everybody
now?
that has there and has proof.
Y'all, hold on. In high school.
Yes, he went to the high school.
The same school
It
as
was Wyatt's boat, and he went to Biloxi.
he went to a different high school.
Yes, he went to the high school
Yeah.
that I went to. And then all the other
Gotcha.
boys, they went to Ocean Springs. But the boats was Wyatt's, but it was found at Warren's house. And Warren's mom is the one that's a judge. And before they even all
Warren's
got
mom
questioned,
is a judge.
before they even all got questioned, they all lawyered up. There's literally video proof of like pictures of them that night going to different parties because I guess they got back at 7, whatever. They were going to multiple parties that night. They refused to give his parents his phone. And then the next day they were caught downtown eating. And when somebody asked them, like, what are y'all doing? Why are you not out looking for your homeboy? They said verbatim, they already think we did it.
So this young lady, Alexis, now we listened to this last night and I said, I haven't seen any pictures surface of them being at any parties. So I could not confirm anything that was going on, but I did play the video. Okay. Based off of what she was saying about them not wanting to give up the phone, we hadn't heard that information as of yet. So it was unconfirmed and unverified. It is now confirmed. But she said the boat belonged to Wyatt, but it was at Warren's house. Red flag. Suspicious as fuck. Why is your boat at the judge's house? Why is your boat at the judge's house? But she's not done.
But that was really just like, it was 100% set up. And then they tried to flip the script. And they even had random people, like when they first went to the police, they said, nobody remembers.
Nobody remembers anything. Isn't that convenient? Isn't that how it always goes? No one ever remembers anything when it's one of us. Now, there's a longer recording, and I don't know where it's at. Somebody had sent it to me, and I thought I had preserved it because I have an inbox that I'm sending stuff to. That is one of my creeper pages. I don't have it in there, but there is another recording. And if you know where that recording is right now offhand, just send it to me, please, so that we can play it. But there's another recording of this girl talking, or a bunch of kids talking, and it's the circles of them. Just a bunch of circles like they were talking on Spaces. Does anybody know the recording that I'm talking about? Why am I envisioning that show Dexter when you said the boat with the judge lady's house? You ain't wrong. Because in that recording, they talk about how someone drove past the house and they were cleaning that boat in the middle of the night. Does anyone know the recording that I'm talking about? The more I hear about it, the more ticked I get. Girl, you should get ticked. I'm trying to see if anybody knows the recording I'm speaking of. Hold on. Let me see something. Hey, Miss Teddy B. One second. Is this it?
I know that friend group that he was with is.
Okay, that's another friend that was speaking out. I'll play that in the meantime and in between time while I try to get that clean the boat in the middle of the night at someone else's house. Right. I seen it in passing on IG, but I can't remember where I saw it. I don't have it, and I don't know where I got it, where I saw it at. I know somebody sent it. I just don't remember who. So I didn't send it to myself, and I got to get better with that. Okay, where is it? Because I just had it. Okay. And it's the same person. Okay. Let me stretch this out a bit, because I like to conceal people's identities that send me stuff, because people don't need to know. Okay.
I know that friend group that he was with is known for, I don't know if I can say this substance, but they're known for doing a certain substance. And, you know, some of us who have spoke to Nolan prior to the island date, we know that they were known for doing that substance. Another thing that we believe is, what if they peer pressured him into doing something? And again, with the mixture of alcohol and...
This is allegedly, y'all. This is allegedly. And Jesus just giving us his synopsis of what he feels. So allegedly, Jesus, you got to remember when you're getting on these panels, you got to say allegedly, because somebody will try to wrap you up.
Allegedly coming from his friend group that knows him very well. I'm talking about teammates that played with him, went to school with him, and folks that see him every weekend. Allegedly, we believe that maybe something just didn't go the way they wanted it to. Maybe they were trying to have a little bit too much fun, and it was just a mistake that they covered up. But I know for a fact that friend group that they were with is known for a certain substance. So it does not surprise me whatsoever. And I'm almost certainly confident, allegedly, that there was that substance on that boat. I know we won't know till the body gets tested and all that, but, you know, it's what makes sense to me. I don't believe he tried to swim back to the island or anything like that. There's just a lot of things that doesn't make sense. Why did they leave him in the first place? Why didn't they make sure he had a ride home? If that was me and my friend group that I typically hang out with, I mean, Nolan, yes, was in that, but if it was me and my 4 close friends, I'm not leaving that island until I leave with my friend. I know that friend group that he was with is known for...
So this young man is saying that the friend group that he was with is known for using illegal substances. Now, last night, I did go over Ben Crump, his interview with Don Lemon. And in the interview with Don Lemon, that's when I learned about how Nolan had this whole workout thing that was coming up on Monday for him to become D1 status. Okay, so no way in the world was Nolan engaging in any type of illegal substances. Okay, I do want to play Ben Crump talking to TMZ, and then I want to play the parents talking with Good Morning America this morning. If anyone finds the audio, please inbox me on official that girl Henny. Can someone drop the name in the chat, please? It's the same name as this channel, official that girl Henny on IG. Send it to me if you see it while we're in the midst of watching some of these interviews, and let's watch what TMZ interviewed Ben Crump yesterday about, and then we'll get into the Good Morning America interview that was done this morning. Let me fix my screen a bit. All right, there we go.
The family of Nolan Wells has a lot of questions that they just can't get answers to just yet. They are not giving up, and in fact, they have hired famed civil rights attorney Ben Crump, is now representing the family. He is joining us right now. Be right back. The family of Nolan Wells has a lot of questions that they just can't get answers to just yet. They are not giving up, and in fact, they have hired famed civil rights attorney Ben Crump, is now representing the family and trying to help them get the answers about this young man who disappeared when he went on a trip to Horn Island. This is off of Mississippi in the Gulf on July 4th, was there with a group of his friends. The friends all returned home safely, but Nolan did not. And a couple of days later, his body was found, and there was an autopsy performed. We don't know the results yet, but the authorities have told us that at this point, they don't see evidence of a crime, but they said that that may very well change, and they're trying to gather more information. While the authorities are doing that, Ben Crump is running his own investigation and trying to get answers for the family, and he's joining us right now. Ben, welcome back to TMZ Live.
Hey, thank you, Charles, for having me. Harvey, thank you as always.
Of course. There's a lot to talk about here, but let's start with cause of death. I know that you may not have a formal autopsy, but you have been looking at it, and it seems to me that is the starting point. Do you have any sense of how he died?
We don't want to speculate, Harvey, so we're going to investigate every aspect of why Nolan Wells is not with us today. We know that he was with his friends. They went out on Horn Island, as Charles said. He was the only black teenager that was there. And, you know, all of them came back safely on the boat with his cell phone, Harvey. But Nolan's body was found washed up on the shore on Monday morning. And so his family is not accepting that it was an accidental drowning. They haven't been told anything, but that's been a suggestion. And they're not accepting that because Nolan was a college football player. He was a superior athlete. He was in great fitness and condition. And so for them to try to say, well, we got his phone, but we don't know where he's at, and then he turns up dead, they are not accepting it. And there's so many questions, so many contradictions.
So, Ben, there is one of, you mentioned that the friends who came back, they returned Nolan's phone and some of his clothing to his parents, and their claim was that he said he was going to stay behind. I know there's one friend, a young woman who has come forward and has spoken to the police, and I'm wondering if she's spoken to you and how her version of events differ from what the other friends have said.
She hasn't spoken to us, but we know her statement that she released publicly. She said that she was talking to Nolan, and then Nolan said, well, I'm going back to the boat with the guys I came with. That's her version. She said that he did not leave with her, that he went back and got in the boat with other boys. Well, the boys say that when they was talking to Nolan, he said he wasn't going to get in the boat with them, that he was going to stay with her, stay behind with her. So it's a contradiction. Their statements contradict one another, and that is something that's very troubling. On top of the fact that we know there are videos circulating where there's an argument where you hear Nolan arguing with somebody, and we're trying to say this is too much to just try to sweep under the rug. No, we want to have a thorough investigation as if it was 3 black boys and a white boy who was with them ended up dead.
So again, it's sounding to me like Ben Crump is alluding to that boat video that's been circulating as being connected to this case. But again, he says that it's still underneath investigation. So we're waiting for them to verify it. But if there was an altercation that happened between them, then obviously it would be them that was having that altercation on Horn Island. Now, what they're saying, I'm hoping that Ben Crump's team is able to basically let us know what the hell is what when it comes down to that, because we need that cleared up immediately. Now, I did find someone who covered the video Let me see something. I did find someone who covered the video, and they have the audio that we are looking for. So I'm going to switch over to that, and then we'll get back to, we'll continue with Nolan's parents' interview with Good Morning America this morning.
That Nolan was my friend, and that all these like stories going around, like even from like our point of view, because we're getting it different than what the public is seeing because we're at the behind the scenes. They're all trying to change the story. Everybody that was near that boat is trying to defend all their other friends, and every time you talk to a different person, the story is changing.
But is there any?
So according to Alexis, she's saying that every time, like, the story is evolving. And you know what evolves, right? A lie. A lie changes. The truth remains the same. No matter what you say, no matter what you do, if it's the truth is going to stand and hold. A lie is going to continue to shift and change. We know that.
Anything that you can tell us in detail, like that you feel safe saying? I don't want you to say anything that you can't say or don't feel safe saying.
Like, what do you want to know?
So what exactly happened from you guys' side?
From our side, there was an altercation with a different boat, which had other kids on it, black kids. And there was an altercation. There was a fight. Something happened. And they went back to their respected boats or whatever.
Okay, so according to Alexis, there was an altercation with a whole other boat. Okay.
And when his best friend was on the other boat, so when he went to go like check up on Nolan and everything after the fight, Nolan's boat was gone, but they had stayed for a couple more hours. And so when they got back to land, they had his phone. So Nolan didn't even have his phone.
Okay, so according to Alexis, the altercation happens with the other boat. The people that were on the other boat went to look for Nolan and the boat was gone.
The phone was at one of the boys' houses, and they didn't want to give it to his parents, and they had to send somebody to go get the phone from his house. That's why, like, when we checked his location, everybody was like thinking that it wasn't serious because we saw his location and said he was in Ocean Springs, Mississippi, like at his house. But they wouldn't give his phone back to his parents, and they were seen eating out the next day.
Wow.
And when somebody asked them, like, hey, why aren't you out looking for your friend? They said, y'all already think we did it.
Did what?
Exactly. And then also that night, they were seen at multiple parties when they got back from the island around like 7 o'clock. So they still continued to go out that night, knowing that Nolan wasn't with them and that.
So, to answer your question, did anyone point out whose story is a lie? Be more specific for me, because the story about Nolan staying behind to talk to this girl, Katie, is a lie. Well, there's a contradiction there. I'm going to use that instead of saying it's a lie. There's a contradiction there because the boys say he stayed behind to talk to Katie. Katie is saying that he did not stay behind. He left and said he was getting on a boat with his friends. And now you have Alexis, who spoke to this a couple of days ago. And now the parents have corroborated what she's saying about the phone. Not wanting to give up the phone, but it was not wanting to give up the phone to the mom's friend. The parents weren't there. The mom was calling to try to make a report, and the dad was trying to get the keys to his son's car to bring the car home. But she says the next day they're out eating and they're not looking because, quote, they already think we did it. Really? Yeah, her story is running the same. Absolutely.
nobody had seen him.
Sorry, Alexis, quickly. You said there was the altercation that happened on the boat was with other black kids. There were other black people on the island.
There obviously, yes, but they rode on separate boats. There was supposed to be other black people on the boat with Nolan, but they got told last minute that they couldn't go.
And that corroborates what another friend said. See, there's a lot of recordings that's out. And what I'm going to do for y'all is I'm going to spend time and I'm trying to see if I can employ some people to help me from the Henny PIs who aren't busy, because, you know, they're covering the circus and the circus is like cranked up, baby, and going. So they're on that. I do need some people who are going to be sending information to official That Girl Henny. I need people who will be dedicated to sending information as you see it. Just send it. You know, if I need that, I need a PI team for official that covers hip hop, that covers stories like this. I have someone helping with politics, but we could always do with some politics to understand what's going on. These are the things that I'm covering over here on this channel, real life stuff, along with celebrity gossip, drama, court docs, and all of that. So if you are going, please let me know. Just start sending me stuff. But I am going to be looking for all of these recordings so that we can sit and listen to everything that the friends have said, and we can give this a full story. Okay. Now, you would think, no, let me go back. There is another recording that there's a friend that says that he was supposed to be on the boat with Nolan and the boys. But apparently there wasn't enough room for all of them, so they had to go get on another boat. And that's the story. And so she's corroborating that by saying that there were supposed to be other black kids on the boat, but they were told that they couldn't go on that boat. So they ended up going on another boat.
Because there wasn't like enough space. But the story that they keep trying to push out to everybody is that the boat was sinking and taking on water, and they were telling Nolan that he needed to get on the boat, but Nolan wanted to stay back with a girl that he never met, which he wouldn't have done, because if that was like, we're all from the same surrounding areas, she goes to Moss Point, which is like 20 minutes away. Why could you not hang out on land when you got back?
It's the boat that you came in was sinking and you knew that.
And so that was like the crazy thing, is that they're talking about, the boat was sinking, and he didn't want to get on the boat and the boat had to get towed back. But if that was the case and he said he wanted to stay there, why did you take his phone back and not leave him on an island without a way to get home?
And Alexis, I do want to ask you something else. How long were they friends?
They've been friends for a minute. I mean, these people have gone to school together since elementary school.
Oh, I wanted to ask you, can you confirm that all of their social media has been scrubbed? So is it scrubbed or is it deactivated?
Only 2 of them are deactivated, but a couple of them are just private now. But the mom judge, she did deactivate hers. So that only 2 of them are actually, so 3 of them, I guess, are deactivated, and then the rest of them are just private.
Alexis, I have a question. Based on what you know of the friends, can you shed light on their dynamic? Is Wyatt and Warren closer than, I don't know, the other guys? How does Nolan fit in the group? Is he at the bottom? Is he...
I don't know, like, their dynamic personally, but, like, they've all played sports together. Wyatt actually went to my school, so he didn't go to the same school as the other 3 kids that were in the picture. And actually, the picture that's circulating, Wyatt's not even in that picture.
Ah, okay.
But the person that was to the left of him with the long hair and the black glasses, that's probably who he was the closest with. But the other ones, like, they're just friends that have been together. Like we've all been at people's parties. Everybody hosts different ones. So like we all know each other from each other.
So the blue glasses is who he really doesn't know. I'm looking at the picture now. The people.
No,
with
he
the blue
knows
glasses.
all of them. But if he was like to be closer to somebody, it would be the boy that was wearing the black glasses.
Okay.
Yeah, Wyatt is the he was the quarterback for Bullocks.
So let me just go ahead and let me just say this. I was looking in my phone to see if I could find the photograph of them in the sports uniforms. They're all athletes, right? I would love to know what their statuses are when it comes down to their positions in football. Because let me bring this up, okay? Jealousy is a motherfucker. Everyone wants to be a D1 athlete. Nolan was up for D1 athlete. Don't start that shit, Purple Dog. Don't start that shit, Purple Dog. We needed to lighten the mood. Thank you for that joke. We needed to lighten the mood. You think that they didn't feel some type of way that he was going for D1 status? Y'all think he didn't feel a way? Candy's husband, Pop. I'm just saying, this is a real thing. It's not something to be overlooked or nose snubbed at. And if for Media Showdown, I'm sorry, I know we're running over Media Showdown, but we'll get to Media Showdown a little later on. I apologize, but yes, this is where we are. Okay. But let's get back into this recording.
Now, was this an actual physical altercation that took
They
place
said that
on land? Or
somebody did get in a fight and that somebody got hit, but this was on land. It wasn't in the water.
okay, see, because I've heard and read certain things of, arguments, fighting, and, you never know exactly, but you being a source is nice to know that there was an actual physical altercation.
It's not nice to know. What do you mean it's nice to know? I think that person just didn't know what to say at that point in time, because it's not nice to know that there was a physical altercation. Okay? That's not nice to know. Anyway, a physical altercation takes place on land, not on a boat. So is it possible that a physical altercation took part? Do y'all hear the thunder? Oh, it's storming outside. It's getting ready to storm outside. A physical altercation took land. So physical altercation took place on the island, maybe? So if Nolan was a part of the physical altercation, then that means that he should have some types of signs of a physical altercation on him if he was a part of the fight. And I brought that up to say this. The sheriff said that there was no signs of foul play. She said, yep, but I have headphones. Okay, do you hear the thunder is rolling as we are covering this? Y'all know that this is dramatic and theatrical for me, okay? Anyway, let's listen some more.
That's what I also think, because his best friend was on the other boat that had like the altercation or whatever. And when the fight and everything happened, they went to their separate boats. They went to their separate boats, and when his best friend said he went back to like go check on him and see how he was doing, their boat was gone and they had stayed for a couple more hours. So if you were like you wanted to stay back with this girl or whatever, and you didn't have a ride back, wouldn't you have asked your best friend to ride back with him?
Exactly. So here's the thing. There are two separate friend groups that have come into play. There is the friend group that was originally supposed to be on the boat that had to find another boat to get out to Horn Island. And then there is the friend group that Nolan rode into the island with. Okay, so there's two friend groups, and those friend groups got into an altercation. Nolan's boat is gone. The other friend group's boat is there. And exactly what she said is exactly what I'm thinking. If your other friends are there, then why the hell would he not have gotten on the boat with them? Especially if the one who's on that boat is his best friend. Make it make sense, because it doesn't. And what were they fighting about? We still don't have a clear story as to why they had his phone. We still don't have a clear-cut story on that.
And he never saw him the rest of the night. And also the girl that they said was that he stayed back for was the boat literally directly next to them. So how did each side say that they thought they were staying with each other, but nobody saw him?
Good question. Good question. The girl's boat was next to their boat? See, we didn't know that. The girl's boat was parked next to the boat that Nolan was on. So when the friend group went over there, went to go check, and Nolan's boat was gone, the boat he was on, Wyatt's boat was gone. If he stayed behind with the girl Katie, then wouldn't he have been on Katie's boat? Listen, Chocolate. The father said, we're going to watch the Good Morning America one. The father said in that Good Morning America interview this morning that Nolan was taught, if you leave with 5, you come back with 5. He was taught what we were all taught. So that's bullshit. Okay? I'm getting heated.
I mean, with the girl, what happened to her? Like, it's so.
She was the
confused.
first one to go to the police. She was
the girl was the first one to go to the police.
First one to like say everything. She was speaking up, all this other stuff. But she said she thought that Nolan was with the boys, and the boys said that they thought Nolan was with the girl. But how did neither of y'all say that when the boats were supposedly right next to each other?
Good question. Good question. Okay. Again, we'll go through all of the audio that I can find. If you find audio, please send it to official That Girl Henny on Instagram, and we will review it. Okay. I really am kind of shaky on using other people's stuff here on YouTube like that, because people get a little possessive, and I don't want no smoke with nobody. Okay. I don't want no smoke. I just want to put out clean content. All right. So.
Taking it second by second.
Day by day. Second by second and day by day, which we all can understand. And I just want to ask you, the friends that Nolan traveled to Horn Island with, they said that he stayed behind voluntarily. Why would he stay behind?
That we cannot answer. I can't fathom why he would. Like,
I don't know why he would. We always talk.
So here we have the parents. You can hear. Oh, you must be a little further behind. Here we have the parents who know their child, right? They don't understand why he would stay behind. They are in the same mindset that we all are in. Okay. But pay attention to what the dad says.
Him to, if you go with a group, you stay with a group. Mm-hmm. Even when he was in college, he would say, "Dad, well, we're gonna ride down to a party or something in another city." And so I was telling him, "Look, if you go with 5, you come back with 5. Do not separate from your group." Because I always say safety is in numbers. Mm-hmm. And He always said, yes, sir. So he knew to stay with his group.
So Nolan knew to stay with his group. So that blows that whole theory of him staying behind with a girl or for a girl out the water. Because if his parents have instilled that in that, then that in him, then that means that that was in him. And if he's always done that, if that's been his routine, and if it's always a constant reminder coming to him from his dad whenever they're going out, then it's something that's in him. It's something that's in him. And I know a lot of us were questioning that, like, why would they leave him behind? We now can say we have an idea as to why they would leave him behind. Okay, we can stop asking that question as to why they would leave him behind. We already understand that they obviously do not share those same upbringings, those same set of rules and structure of when you go out with your friends, you come back with your friends. No man left behind.
So why would he split from his group? I don't know.
So that would have been unusual for him to split from the group. And you said he would always check in with you. Did he check in with you that day?
So that day, no, I don't. But of course, too, they were on the boat. And usually when he is out there, which it's not uncommon, he's, I think, like since last year, he's been going there occasionally with his friends.
And that is a fact. I'm not that she would lie, but I was telling you guys last night in the video that there is photographs of Nolan with this same friend group in different settings and including a boat. So he's been out on the boat with them before, which means they've probably been to Horn Island before as well. So this was not something that was brand new. This was something that was done before. So again, it's a situation where trust is down. These are my friends. These are my homeboys. There's nothing new. There's nothing, unexpected that's happening. So everybody's guards are completely down in this situation because they're trusting the friends.
And so it would always just be like, hey, Mom, I'm back type of thing. But this time there was no call or text from him. It was from his friend.
And then too, we didn't worry a lot about it because, it was his last weekend to have fun because that Monday he had to report to school. We was preparing to take him back for camp to prepare for the season. So, we're gonna see. He wanted to have his last little hurrah before he locked down and get ready for the season. Because, like I said, the entire summer he's training. He got more serious. He started to understand what I was trying to tell him about football, not just being fun, but as you get farther in it, it becomes a business. If you want to excel, you have to understand it. You have to understand both at the same time.
So this father was definitely instilling something in him to expand his greatness. Okay. The father is telling him, you don't want to just be a player. You want to understand the business of all of this. And they were really raising this kid up the right way. Not saying that there's really a wrong way, but when it comes down to them being athletes and things like that, a lot of parents may not have this conversation with their kids about understanding the business side of things as well. And so Nolan was a child that checked in. Nolan was a teenager who was in college who had Life 360 on his phone. Let that sink in for a second.
And we know, Ben, that you said that you're going to do an independent investigation.
Yes.
And you said you have Nolan's cell phone and messages were deleted. How could you tell messages were deleted?
Well, his parents got the phone back, and that's something that's important, Michael, because they tracked this phone on Life 360.
So Life 360, but when I received the phone call from Warren, I immediately called my friend Chime, and I said, hey, have you guys seen Nolan? Because her two sons, Jalen and Javon, they grew up together. They played City League sports together. When they got into school, they played sports together. And so she was like, hey, okay, the boys were pulling up the location from Snapchat.
So we're getting into the story about Snapchat. So let this sink in as well. Nolan goes missing. The mom knows immediately who to call, where he could possibly be. And he's not there. My only question is, what I would like to know is, what was her proximity to these other friends, to Jax, to Warren, to Wyatt's mom? I would like to know what her proximity of closeness was with them. Did they have a rapport with one another? Has she spoken to them? I would like to know that, because then that would give us an insight. She could give us some insight into these parents, their demeanors. Like, we have the judge already out here lying, talking about the boat was having issues and it was taking on water and they left at 4:30 and this, that, and well, let me not say that. We have the judge out here with a contradiction, because I said I got to stop saying lying. The judge is out here with a contradicting story. The judge is saying that she went to school with Christina. Just because you went to school with her doesn't mean that you know her. Doesn't mean that y'all are good girlfriends. But that's the way that this judge woman is portraying it, like they have a good friendship. I would like to know what the parents' relationship was with these other parents, because we are hearing about a close proximity to Nolan's best friends. The friends that if he goes missing, they know exactly who to call.
Snapchat location looks completely different than the Life 360 location. So when I pulled up Life 360, it was different. It was showing everywhere the phone had been. Like, it had, I was like, well, it's showing that he's back on land. Like, I'm not. He's like, but no, he didn't come back with us.
Well, how were you able to get the phone?
So we tracked it, and my friend Tashima went and picked it up.
It wasn't like they said we got his phone, they tracked it. And that highlights all these contradictions, Michael, the fact that they said no.
Hold on. I didn't hear that part this morning when I was listening to it, but then again, I was half awake, because I purposely set my alarm to go off at 10:45 a.m. because I wanted to get up and make sure that I caught that conference, because they said it was going to be at 11 o'clock. I did not catch that the first time that I heard this interview. So they did not tell the family that they had the phone. The family had to find the phone by tracking it. Again, that backs up what Alexis said. And let me be very clear. It's not that I did not believe Alexis. It was that it was unconfirmed information. And I like to run off of confirmed information, you guys. If you're new here, that's why I haven't covered every nook and cranny of everything. Oh, absolutely, Melon in Bed. You can't get around Life 360. Let me tell you, I had that thing on my kids' phones. And they didn't like that I had it on their phones. And when they got new phones, I put the Life 360 app on their phone, and then I deleted the app off their phone so they couldn't do nothing to tamper with it. And I was still able to track them. Once Life 360 is on your phone and you have added people to your account, Life 360 to me is better than the phone GPS.
Was talking to a young woman, and she said that he said, I'm going back to get on the boat with the boys. The boy said that he said he was going to stay with her. And so that's an obvious contradiction. And then this video of this, you can hear an argument going where Nolan is saying, give me my freaking phone. What are you freaking doing? And so then his phone ends up missing. I don't know any teenagers, Michael Strahan, who says, if you believe that story, I'm gonna stay behind and I'm gonna leave my phone. I mean,
right. I'm gonna listen to the video again, because I didn't hear give me my freaking phone. But then again, you know, Ben Crump has a team of investigators. I'm not calling him a liar, so don't come for me. I'm going to listen again and see if that's what I hear, because what I heard before was, you're not going to get on the boat with me. You're not getting on the fucking boat with me. Fuck you, dude. Or fuck you, bro. That's what I heard, but I could be mistaken because it's not a very clear audio. But Ben Crump has, you know, an investigative team. They'll be able to properly and professionally enhance the audio versus those of us who are using apps and things like that to try to enhance what's being heard, to try to drop the background and all of that. So they'll drop what they have, because Ben Crump is totally about transparency, okay? And the parents want the story out there. The parents are appreciative to everyone covering it, paying attention to it. The parents are appreciative. And I'm going to be honest with you. If it wasn't being covered and talked about on social media, everybody who has covered it, talked about it, whatever, is what pushed it to legacy media. Legacy media is beginning to pay attention to the things that we are talking about on this level and the things that are going viral.
No young person leaves their cell phone. And so then there's so many things that their parents were telling us about, even why didn't his body wash up with the tide on Sunday? Why would it come on Monday? It's not adding up. And that is the problem when you think about the history of Mississippi.
Yeah.
And that's a fact too. You know, why didn't they find the body on Sunday? The father said they went out there looking for the body on Sunday. So why didn't he see the body? There was no signs. Are you telling me that it was underwater? Is that what they're trying to tell us? Because that in itself does not make any sense either.
So there's so many questions that need to be answered. And is there anything you'd like people to know about Nolan? What would you like them to know about your son?
No,
okay.
Nolan was very loving. He was liked by all. It was not a friend he couldn't make.
No, we'll be right back with more for the parents of Nolan Wells and attorney Ben Crump. We're back now on GMA with the parents of Nolan Wells, Christina and Elmore Wansley. And I want you to please continue to tell us what you want the world to know about your son.
So Nolan was just like this bright light, right? Walk into a room, his smile, his energy was just so infectious. Like it's almost like he drew you into him. And he was just one of those people, like he always wanted everyone to be included. He didn't want anyone to feel left out. I remember one of his teachers emailing us. I can't remember what grade he was in, but basically it was math class. They had a special needs student and she asked a question and Nolan got everyone to put their hands down because he wanted that student to answer. And so the student answers the question and she was like, Christine, the classroom, Nolan went crazy and everyone else started going crazy, just celebrating that child, making them feel included. And that was the person he was. Like he loved everyone. And I always told Nolan, like, you know, you have to be careful when you have such a big heart like that. I love that God blessed you with that, but you have to be careful with that because, you know, that it's not always returned, that type of love, but he was just genuinely a good person.
What she just said was so impactful, especially when we start looking at what we just talked about. He's getting D1 status. The friends around him are not. He had a good heart. And it bothers me when you hear it's always a person with a good heart. It's in there. I'll find it when I'm done. We are way too nice and trusting. Way too nice, way too trusting. That's why sometimes, you know, people don't like to show that they're kind-hearted. This is sad. He sounds like he was just a great kid.
Like I always say, all the best parts of me are with him.
And Dad, anything else you want to add?
It's just, he's going to be really missed. I know a lot of his teammates, they all look to him as a leader. He's more like a silent leader. Not real big on words, more on action, which is kind of like I was. I really wasn't real big on talking. I really wanted to show you when you follow me, and people follow him. And it's gravitated. He would put in the work, he worked hard, and he knew he was focused on what he wanted. And he wanted to make life better for, you know, his family. He wanted to have his own family. He used to say, Dad, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. I said, well, son, you got to take it one step at a time.
He had plans for a future. Is it possible to retrieve Snapchat deleted messages? I'm not sure, but I'm quite sure that all of these social media platforms, they have servers. And I'm sure that those messages are somewhere on those servers. But I don't know. I can't speak to that for sure. I'll definitely look into it and get back to you, though. But let's let the family finish up, and then we're going to finish up this video.
Slow down. Let's go. Let's walk this thing out. You know, let's train. Let's sign our deals. Let's make these teams, make these camps, put the work in, and everything else will work out. Even his baby brother, their bond got even stronger because now I have a big brother that he's finna do something. So now I want to outdo that. So his focus and his confidence has got even better. So I was looking forward to both of them having outstanding years.
Seasons,
He seemed like he inspired in the home and he inspired
Absolutely.
outside of the home. And it turned.
Okay, so let's get into this portion right here because we started it, but we didn't finish it. But before we end it, I would like to go ahead and touch on this. Okay. I would like to go through the things that we have learned. So, from the top of what we have learned to be verified facts through the family and Ben Crump, that he could swim. Okay. That Katie and the boys' stories don't match. The phone was retrieved after it was tracked via Life 360. That a phone call was received from Warren at 11:07 p.m. declaring geez Louise, Nolan missing, informing his family that Nolan was missing. The family contacted authorities. Warren did call the Coast Guard. The body washed ashore on Monday, but the family is questioning why that body didn't wash ashore on Sunday. What's being assumed is that Nolan drowned. The family is doing an independent investigation and an independent autopsy. There has not been a release of a medical examiner's report for the autopsy from Mississippi as of yet. However, the family has flown the body. The body went, I guess, from Mississippi to New York. For whatever reason, New York grounded flights. So Nolan's body has been delayed getting to DC, but his body is going to DC, somewhere far, far away from Mississippi, for an autopsy to be had independently by the family. What we can verify is that there was some type of argument that did happen. And according to Alexis, there was a physical altercation that happened as well. What the family said during their press conference was that they also not only instilled in him if you leave with 5, you come back with 5, like you never leave your friend group and you never leave a friend behind. They also instilled in him Black history. They said Nolan didn't like it because he didn't like the racism. But they instilled Black history into him. So all of those people coming with the whole, they had an issue with foundational Black Americans. And so everybody with that narrative can pipe down, little baby, because clearly they educated their son on his Black history. So he was aware. They said they always talk to him about being aware. Okay. I don't like that. I don't like when people try to villainize the people who have been victimized already. That's like re-victimization. That's like the very thing that happens when a person comes out and says that they were essayed and then they go get ran through the ringer and all of that. They get re-victimized. This family is going through enough right now. They don't need anything else. Okay. The family said that he was a peacemaker. Okay. We know that Snapchat and Life 360 were showing 2 different locations. The family is saying that his Snapchat was emptied, that they had issues retrieving his car keys, his cell phone, and that his wallet had gone missing as well. That when the dad went to the house, the friend Jax, to go retrieve Nolan's car keys, he was met with resistance. When the mom's friend went to go retrieve the cell phone from the other friend who had the cell phone, she received some resistance. That the father went out with the coach and went searching for Nolan at 5 a.m. in the morning on Sunday morning. Before the search teams, before the Coast Guard, before the Cajun Navy, before anyone was out there looking for Nolan in that water, his father and the coach were out there at the island. The father said they walked a substantial amount of the island and that they drove around the island. And the father said that where they found Nolan's body, he had already been over there looking and did not see Nolan there. The father said that there was a family that was camping on the island under a tent when he went there at 5 a.m. on Sunday morning, July 5th. The father said that there were 2 boats that were docked over there on Horn Island when he was over there at 5 a.m. on July 5th looking for his son. Katie says that she did meet Nolan, but that Nolan said he was going back with his friend group. The friend group says he stayed behind to kick it with Katie. The friend group is alleging that they last saw Nolan at 3 p.m. and they left at 4:30 p.m. However, there are photographs that are out there that allegedly show the friend group still out there at the island at 7 p.m. However, Nolan was not reported to his family as being missing until 11:07 p.m. that night. To his family. The family was given a runaround from Ocean City Police Department, and ultimately Jackson County ended up taking their report. Ben Crump has said that the story about the boat taking on water is not true. And the family of Nolan has said that they have not spoken to any of the family of the boys that were with Nolan on that boat. They haven't heard from anyone since that night. Everyone has lawyered up. Did I miss anything in the recap? I agree with you, boss lady. No 18-year-old is leaving their phone behind. Shoot. Ain't no 14-year-old leaving the phone. Ain't no grown-ass person leaving their phone behind, period. I got everything. Yes. I didn't miss anything. Okay. So this is where we are with Nolan Wells. Like I said, I will be doing a video for you guys over the weekend, putting some things together for y'all. But I felt it important to catch this press conference and to break this story down. I appreciate all of you who have been here to watch, who have participated in this live, because, you know, I'm introducing a new story. We are still covering Carmelo Anthony. For those who are wondering, we're still covering Carmelo Anthony. I just did 2 videos. I read the motion for a new trial. I read the motion to recuse. Those 2 videos are available in the video section of this channel. I will be starting a Nolan Wells playlist. I do have playlists of things that I have covered. So if you ever want to know if I've spoken on it or what I've said about it, y'all can go and check it out. There is a video that I did at 4:30 this morning that was alive that is now available to the Henny Gang Down members only. I will be editing that video to cut out some things from me going back and forth with someone, and I'll be putting it out to the public as well. So I want to thank each of y'all for tapping in and tuning in. If you are going to be following me over to reviews, we will do Showdown, but it will be a little later. I need a minute to recalibrate myself and kind of change gears. But I love each and every one of y'all. Remember, if you see something, say something, please send it to me at that official That Girl Henny on Instagram. And I will see y'all in the next one. Peace, everybody.
Because